Hi, I'm Dea Williams, and welcome to the Do It Anyway podcast. This is the first episode of its kind, and I'm really excited to get this episode up and moving. This is my friend Chlöe Robbins. Chlöe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a Spirit of Texas teen, actually Dea's successor,
Whoop
because that
whoop!
was her title last year. This will be my third year competing for Miss Texas Teen with Dea. We've been in it the same amount of time, and I'm currently a junior at Colleyville Heritage High School.
Whoop whoop. Wow. Okay. One thing I want to ask you is what challenges and adversities have you faced in your life? I know all about your community service initiative and it's a really compelling story and it's so powerful. So I want the pod to be able to hear your story.
So when I was 13 years old, I walked in on my stepfather's body on the bathroom floor. He unfortunately suffered a widowmaker's heart attack, which caused him to pass away. Um, and I was only 13 when this happened. And so it was really hard at first. I didn't know how to deal with loss. And it was kind of traumatic, and it led me to go into depression, and I didn't know what to do with this. And then about a year later, I had the opportunity to compete in my first pageant, and they told me that I would have something called a community services initiative. And at first, I didn't know what this was. And then my purpose became clear to turn this pain that I had been experiencing for years or for a year into a purpose. And that's when I started my community service initiative, Healthy Lives for Happy Hearts, in honor of my stepdad, Ian, who so unfortunately passed away, just like so many other Americans, as heart disease is the number one killer of Americans and killer of women.
Wow. What a story. I mean, talk about turning your pain into purpose. That's seriously so strong of you and I admire that so much about you. I'm so glad to have a
Thank you,
friend like
Dea.
you. But I want to ask you, what has that taught you? What has, carrying your service initiative through the state of Texas and telling your story to people and turning that pain into purpose, what has that really brought into your life? What has that taught you?
Well, I said a little bit that I had fallen into depression. And when you're 13 years old, you don't know what to do with this. And it's so hard. And when you finally find that purpose, then you just get so motivated. And whenever I first started going to events with the American Heart Association, I didn't realize how many people had gone through what I had gone through or what were going through it. Or were survivors, luckily. And so realizing how many people are actually affected by this made my purpose even bigger. And so being able to do something so meaningful, not just to me, but to so many other people, whether it is going into classrooms and talking to children about drinking energy drinks, is a really big one that I talk about, because moderation is so important. When we're putting in 200 milligrams of caffeine in our body every single day, I know everybody is guilty of drinking energy drinks. I myself used to drink them all the time, and now learning how bad it can be for your heart if you have too much caffeine really takes a toll on it. And so when I talk to teenagers, one of the biggest things that I talk to them about is, moderation and limiting ourselves from drinking energy drinks. And another huge one I like to talk about is the importance of never vaping, because
Mm.
of how bad vaping can be for your heart. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. They're like, oh, yeah, it's bad for my lungs. No, it's also bad for your heart. And it's just bad for you. It's bad for your body. And so being able to teach teenagers at an early age these healthy habits is so important.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the partnership with Miss America and the Heart Association. I mean, it means a lot to me. I wouldn't know a lot about heart disease that I do now without this incredible partnership. What do you think we could be doing as, title holders to promote the Heart Association more?
So we are so fortunate to have the Miss America opportunity partnered with the American Heart Association, and specifically the Go Red for Women movement. And I think one of the biggest things that we can do is just advocate, go to more American Heart Association events. I know that you've been to multiple Go Red for Women events,
They're
and
my
and so
favorite.
have I. And so getting other title holders involved into advocating with the American Heart Association, even if it's not your platform, because it's not Dea's, and she still shows up with the American Heart Association. So that part is just so important, getting people involved, and getting people involved who maybe aren't title holders, getting your friends into it, and just really showing up for the Miss America opportunity, and leading with that volunteerism, but especially with the American Heart Association. And we are so fortunate to be partnered with them. And that's one of my very favorite parts about the Miss America opportunity.
So fortunate. AHA, if you're listening, thank you.
Hashtag go red for women.
Hashtag go red for women. Okay, Chlöe, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you just talked about moderation,
Mm-hmm.
right? How important that is for people to moderate, their energy drinks and really think about what they're doing for our heart, what is the easiest habit we can start doing that will better our heart health?
One of the easiest things that I like to tell people is drinking water. When you're drinking water, not only are you helping your heart, but you're taking away from some of these other things. So, if it's, you're wanting to drink an energy drink, drink water instead. And that's fueling your body just as much, if not more, because when you drink so many energy drinks, you become reliant on them, which takes a toll on you. And another big one is just getting involved in an activity or a sport that can maybe help you stay active or help lower your stressors, which is also a big reason that heart disease can happen. If you're having a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, it can cause effect to your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. These are all really great things that we are learning here on the pod.
Yes.
Um, what have you done since that event besides your service initiative, maybe with your family, with your friends, to improve your life and outcome over what you went through?
I don't talk about this a lot or really ever, but when my stepdad passed away, I was in a dark place and I didn't understand. And I'm a believer in God, but I was like, why would God do this to me? Why would He take away my person? I did, and people say everything happens for a reason, and I was like, why
What was
though?
the
Yeah,
reason?
what's the reason for this? And now my reason is clear. Getting to do everything that I do um, for my stepdad and for his story and for his legacy, but also for my mother. I have a single mom who does so much for my brother and I. And so being able to help her and, help her grieve this too, because that was her husband. And so being able to share his story. But the biggest thing that I've done, to help really help me get through this was I was baptized last year. And that was something that was so important to me because I was accepting God into my life permanently, and I was accepting everything that had happened and realizing that it happened for a reason. And so, being able to find that person, and during Miss Texas week, if I get overwhelmed, I always say a prayer. I know that this is going to turn out the way it's supposed to be. I know that you have a plan for me. Every time before I go on stage, saying a prayer, Dear Jesus, I know I have my four angels on the four corners of the stage. Please let me do my very best. And so being able to do all of that and, just carry God's light with me, but also carry my stepdad with me.
Yeah, wow. I love hearing about your story. It's one of my favorites. It's so powerful and it really makes you think, about life and about how much time we have and how important it is to take care of our heart. So, thank you for sharing that. Um I wanted to ask a little bit about Ian, if
Hmm.
that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So, if you could tell Ian one thing right now in this room, what would it be?
I think about this actually quite often, which is kind of weird and you wouldn't expect that.
Oh, I get it though.
But there's so many things that I want to say to him. He's been gone 4 years, and it was 4 years this last January. And so many things have happened since then. When I met Ian, I didn't even really know what a pageant, or not when I met Ian, when Ian passed away, I didn't even know what a pageant was. And I had nothing to do with the Miss America opportunity or the American Heart Association. I wasn't modeling. I wasn't doing really any of the things that I'm doing now. And so I would just tell him that I just love him so much. And I understand that there was a reason for all of it, and obviously, I can't change anything that's happened, but I can maybe change it for somebody else. Because the truth is, I would go through that pain 100 more times so that somebody else didn't have to. And so, just being able to continue my advocacy with the American Heart Association and have so many other people also advocating, even though they don't even have a direct tie to heart disease, and just being there and just showing up for others, um, is something that we can continue to do, and that all of you guys can do as well. And just being able to really fight against heart disease, because you never know if it could happen to you. My stepdad was only 49 years old when he passed away. It can
Wow.
literally happen to anybody. He was way too young, and it should never have happened to him. So make sure it doesn't happen to you either.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What a story. I wanted to talk a little bit about grief. You are a teenager that has
Yes.
experienced immense amounts of grief.
Mhm.
It's unimaginable what you've gone through and the grief that you've had to feel. What advice would you have for other teenagers going through grief and navigating a parental loss?
My biggest piece of advice is just to be there for somebody else. And if you are personally going through the grief, that I promise it's going to be okay. It feels like the end of the world. I've talked about this a few times since we started, but I went to a deep depression and I didn't understand. And teen mental health is something that's also so important to me because I struggled. And so, not only being there for yourself and getting help, maybe it's going to a therapist, maybe it's, spending more time with your family or your friends. That's what helped me the most. Um, and if you're friends with somebody who might be dealing with grief like this, to just be there for them, check in with them, make sure that they are doing okay, and really being for them, ask them to get out because it's hard when you're depressed. You don't want to really do anything. You kind of just want to lay down in your bed. Is what happened to me. I just was so unmotivated to do anything, and my friends and my family, my mom was so strong and helped me lift myself back up and get back into it. And so um whether you're going through the grief, just know that everything is going to be okay. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but I'm a prime example of it's going to be okay. And if you know somebody who's grieving or has lost a parent or even a grandparent or anything like that, just be there for them regardless of what they need.
Yeah. Speaking of your mom, if you haven't met Chloe's mother, she is a wonderful woman. Seriously, one of the best people in the world. Let's talk a little bit about her. When you first decided to jump into pageants, how did she react to all that?
Okay, guys. My mother, Courtney, was Miss Parker County's teen back in 1996, and she was contestant number 1 in the Miss America opportunity. So she did do a pageant, 2 pageants, I guess.
Hey,
back in her day.
there you go.
She was a very wonderful dancer, but she always says I was not good at the interview part. I couldn't interview.
Hey, it's hard. It's hard.
She was a wonderful dancer, but she always said I couldn't interview. And honestly, she's the one who approached me about it because she has some friends, Jordan and Riley Johansson. She had known them because she actually had a boutique called Gypsy & Co. back in the early 2010s, I think. And she dressed Riley Johansson when she was Miss Texas Teen. And so she had some, people who were in the organization, and they were like, you need to get your daughter into a pageant. She would be so good at it. And I have a really close friend and actually an old teacher of mine, Megan Wells, who used to compete in the Miss Texas organization too. And she thought that I would also be really good at pageants. So I had a lot of people who wanted me to do this, but I didn't know anything about it at the time. And I had never really, I had heard of Miss America and Miss USA, but I was never a Lone Star Princess, even though I always wish I would have been because Daya was.
It was awesome. It was
and
awesome.
A bunch of our friends were Kaylee, so many others, started in the LSP program. And so I kind of wish I would have started back then, but I was like, okay, let's go for it. And I watched my first pageant. It was actually Dallas Park Cities, and Daya competed, and it was the first time I ever saw Daya.
I got second runner-up.
Let's go.
Still pretty good
on her first year.
Hey, I'll take it.
And then the next week I competed for Miss Colleyville's team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I met Chloe. She walked in and I was like, ooh, she's winning a pageant today. She was so natural but so polished at the same time, which is a very hard quality to find in a title holder. Yes, you were.
I disagree, guys. This is my very first pageant. I had no idea what I was doing. I
thought you were really good.
To this day, I don't know how I won. I was looking at a video of me from that pageant the other day, and my whole fitness walk, my hands were just on my hips, and my evening on my hands were literally glued to my side.
Fitness is its own beast. I did not have my fitness walk down.
I was probably out on stage for 10 seconds and turn around. It was so fast too. I was like, get me out of here.
Well, you had it better than I did. My first pageant, I was prepping for interview. I signed up 2 weeks before. Okay. Plano Richardson. I was ready to go. I had rehearsed interview, come up with this community service initiative, Arts for All, that no longer exists, but I still advocate for. And I completely forgot that we had to model. We had to walk.
Oh, you were like, I'm just here for the interview, actually.
And I walk into this pageant and I'm like, oh, right. That's like a big part of this. So I was out in the hallway and a lovely girl. Yes, Camille Brooks. She very, very quickly tried to teach me how to walk. And it turned out all right. I got first runner-up, my first pageant ever, which was pretty crazy. I was shocked to say the least. But that is the pageant I also watched Sadie Schurmeyer win her first Miss title, and who is now Miss Texas.
What an awesome
Full circle
Representation of
moment.
sisterhood, Camille helping you, and then Sadie winning.
I know, right?
I love my Sadie.
Isn't it great?
It's crazy.
Love that pillar. Let's talk a little bit about Terry Costa.
Oh, yay!
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the partnership with Terry Costa and what you do with them?
So Terry Costa is a premier sponsor of the Miss Texas organization. And when I first started pageantry, I was like, I have to get involved with the store. I thought it was absolutely fabulous, and that's where I think everybody should or did get their dresses.
Mm-hmm.
I may be a little biased, but
Me too.
And I had signed up to be a TC Babe, which is our influencer program at Terry Costa, and I loved it. And Sergio told me that we had shout out Sergio, told me that they were having a modeling competition. And I was like, okay, like, let's do it, why not? And Dea did it too. We both did it. And
I did do it.
yes, and it was very fun. I was the very first day, Dea remembers this. But
it wasn't even that bad.
No, it was bad. You still remember it 3 years later, so.
It wasn't that bad, but she'll tell you.
Okay, so I was so nervous. I was so nervous. And we were doing solo walk in front of everybody. I don't know if it was solo or if it was duo. Either way.
It was duos, then solos.
Okay, I don't remember which one, but I fell really bad in front of everybody. And I was so embarrassed. I started getting teary-eyed, and it was like, it's fine, it's fine. I was like, no, it's not fine.
And then what happened?
And then I won. So
enough said.
Let it be known. Let it be known. It doesn't matter what happens in rehearsal. It matters what happens in the performance. So don't get worked up over something little like I did, because I ended up winning.
Hey, we overcome challenges on this podcast.
Yep, we do.
Mm-hmm.
And now, ever since then, I have been a model for Terry Kostoff. Obviously, my contract, because if you win, you get a 1-year modeling contract. Obviously, my contract is up, but I am still so fortunate to be able to model with Terry Costa. And Dea actually models at Terry Costa too. So
I dabble.
She dabbles. So that's also so, so exciting. And a huge part of the Miss Texas organization, Terry Costa actually sponsors our closing number dresses. And I'm so excited to see the ones this year. I have no idea what they're going to look like yet.
Oh, I want to know so bad.
I also want to know.
I want to know.
So hopefully we'll find out spring showcase.
Probably.
Yeah.
Is that where we found it last time?
I think so. Yeah, that's where we went to pick them up.
Right, because we go to Terry Costa.
Yes, we go to Terry Costa after that Sunday morning of spring showcase.
Time of my life.
So fun.
Time of my life.
So fun.
Terry Costa is so, so awesome. Sergio, if you're listening, we love you. Tina, if you're listening, thank you for listening, and we love you. Yeah, I think we've had a really productive pod today.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, audience? I can hear them clapping right now.
Oh, no, that's too much.
Shucks. Thank you, guys. What are some final words of wisdom for this episode that you would give?
To who? To anybody?
To anyone listening.
Okay, well, I think a lot of the girls who are listening might be pageant girls. And
they better be. I'm telling you all to
now
listen.
that this is my 3rd year competing, and I just recently turned 17, I feel like now I'm officially...
You're old.
I am old. When I started, I was so young, and now I was 14 when I won Miss Colleyville's teen, and now I'm 17, which is crazy. Because 17 is so much older than 16. Sounds so much older.
I agree.
It's like...
And 18 is
so old. Ew.
Ooh, grays coming in. No, I'm totally kidding. 18 is young and youthful.
But, so, this is probably specifically for my fellow title holders, or maybe somebody considering doing a pageant. It's going to be okay, whatever happens. And so just one of the biggest things, I think that was the difference from when I was Miss Colleyville's teen versus Miss Heart of Texas teen. When I was Miss Colleyville's teen, I just went into it having fun. And, I obviously cared what the results were, but I wanted to make the top 10. I wanted to do well. And I ended up being 3rd runner-up that year, which was so exciting and such a wonderful, wonderful accomplishment. And I walked away feeling so, so proud of myself. And when I came back the next year, I feel like I was so set on being in the top 5 again. And I had so much pressure on me, but nobody was putting pressure on me. Dea wasn't like, Chloe, you have to make the top 5.
You've got to.
Nobody was doing that. I was putting pressure on myself. And I think the biggest thing is just go into it having fun. Heather Sumlin said to me one time, if you went into the week and you went through the whole week and you knew you were going to win at the end of the week, would you act differently if you didn't know you were going to win?
Story
Would
of
you
the
just,
angel.
yes, would you just have fun? She tells it a little bit better than I do, but
Oh, it's like a whole story.
yes,
It's great.
yes. You would just have fun, right? If you already knew you were going to win, you would just go in there having the time of your life. And so that's what we should be doing in the first place. So I think that can go for not just pageantry, but anything. Go into it with an open mind, go into it just having fun and being okay with whatever the results are. Obviously, it's okay to want to do well, but work hard enough to where when you get there during the week, or when you get to that job interview, or when you get to that dance tryout or sports tryout, you're ready and you just have fun when you get there. And so that's probably my biggest piece of advice for anybody competing in pageantry, because I already talked a lot about grief. And so that's probably my biggest piece of advice, because I feel like I'm a big sister now, me and Daya both. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I'm excited to, help with the girls who might be rookies and are new and probably were like
Oh,
me my first year, who had no idea what was
rookies.
going on. But we're seasoned now. So,
Just a little bit.
yeah, we're so
Okay.
fortunate.
Yeah. Very, very last question.
Okay.
And this one's the most important of them all.
Okay.
I'm very serious about this.
Oh,
It's very
okay.
important. If you were an animal,
Oh my God, no.
what animal would you be?
Okay, guys, these are the questions that I have the hardest time with.
Because they're so important.
You could ask me a question that was like the hardest, most political question, and I'd probably do better on it than I would do to this question. Uh, I don't even know.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first, then I'll piggyback off.
My mom says I would totally be a kangaroo. Now, I don't know why. I trust her judgment.
I was
I'll
thinking
take
more like
kangaroo.
lion or
Okay,
something. She's
I'll take
ferocious.
lion too. I've gotten ferret before, which
Ferret?
I love ferrets. Hot take.
Oh, they're so cute.
Ferrets are so cute. I used to want one really, really bad when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of have like two. One of them, I don't know if I
You
completely
can pick
agree
two.
with. I agree with like half of this one. So I actually have a French bulldog, Remy,
Oh, Remy.
who is so energetic and she just loves people. And I feel like I'm kind of like that too. Like I just want to be around everybody.
Agree.
But she's not the smartest. Which sometimes I get a little bit blonde and I'm like, what are you talking about? But I'm a lot smarter than my dog is. So, and most Frenchies just don't listen and are kind of bad. So I'd say half Frenchie, maybe a half dragonfly. Because
Ooh.
my Mimi always said that if she died, she would come back as a dragonfly.
Aww.
So maybe this is just my deep love for dragonflies, or
Hey,
maybe I would be a dragonfly. I don't know.
I'll take it.
I don't know.
I'll take it. Well, that concludes this episode of the Do It Anyway podcast. Thank you so much, Chloe, Miss
Thank
Spirit
you,
of Texas
Daya.
Teen, for coming on the pod.
Yep.
And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.